So Stardew Valley is basically a spiritual successor to what was called Harvest Moon back on the Super Nintendo days. Now I remember playing that when I was quite young, like early teenagers, maybe about 10 or so year old. But I really enjoyed it at the time. So it's it's a farming strategic management, time management simulator basically. You start off in a very normal, small, rundown farm, and you're basically given like a few crops, a few tools. You get an axe, you get a sledgehammer, you get a hoe, scythe, watering can. And initially, basically, you're going to be planting seeds, watering them every day, and growing crops, and then selling them to make some gold. You then use the gold to buy bigger and better seeds, and slowly but surely, you're expanding upon your farm. Eventually, over time, you get enough money to buy animals themselves, so you can build yourself a chicken coop, a cow farm, things like that. As well as managing the time on your farm, you're able to then go into town and meet the residents of the local village. So, in this way, it becomes a little bit of a social management aspect. So, you can befriend people, and over time, you learn the likes and the dislikes, and you can give them gifts to build the relationship appropriately. Over time, you can then enter into like a romantic relationship with these people, ultimately get married and have a few children. As the game progresses, it becomes increasingly difficult to manage your time. You've got all of your crops, you've got to go to the village to attend to any tasks that you're being given to socialise with the various villagers. You've got your animals and everything to look after. The one thing that becomes quite evident relatively early on with this game is that time is a critical factor. You only have a finite amount of time in each day and a finite amount of energy to do everything that you need to do. Now, your energy can be topped up by eating various food produce, things like that, but the time is always slowly ticking away, and that never runs out. So, as you've got a bigger and better farm, you've got more crops to water, more animals to feed, it becomes a bit of a balancing act. So what you can do is you could tailor your farm to just focus entirely on the crops, you could focus entirely on the animals. It's entirely up to you. So it gives you a lot of freedom, but the game never really sort of guide you to make that decision. It's more of a decision that you make yourself as you realize the fact that, like, again, you have this very narrow window each day to do everything that you need to do. It does become unsustainable if you try to do everything. You can't always have all the best crops. You can't have all the best animals. You can't go fishing. You can't go see all the villages. You can't go mining. There's an awful lot to do, which is brilliant. And I certainly reached a point where I came to that realization that, okay, I can't do everything. So what do I need to focus on next? And that is where the game is quite good at focusing your attention, because as the time goes on, as you go into different seasons, it'll give you new objectives. It'll open up those new avenues to you. It'll ask you to grow certain crops. It'll ask you to raise certain animals. And as those options open up to you, you start to realize where your focus might lie going forward and where you want to be heading with the game. And the graphics are brilliant, and they harken back to the old 16-bit days. Same for the sound effects, the music. Nothing to complain about in that area. And certainly it hones in on the nostalgia that you might have should you have played Harvest Moon back in the day. Overall, it's a nice little game. Each day lasts probably about 20 minutes, something like that. So you can play a day for 20 minutes and basically scratch that little itch that you might have to have like a little bit of a game. But yeah, because you're always making progress, it does feel like you're always advancing within the game. I quite liked it. It's very slow. It's very peaceful. It's a little bit stressful if you're not able to manage your time, but once you've learned exactly where your focus should be, personally, I had a lot of fun with it. There's still a lot of things that I haven't seen, that I haven't explored. Yet, I do feel the urge to continue playing. This is part and parcel due to the fact that, like, the seasons play into effect. You have different birthdays, different events. So there's always something new coming up, some sort of change. It's never quite the same experience each time. But yeah, I had a lot of fun overall. Probably because I played Harvest Moon back in the day, and it feels like I'm reliving that old school adventure. So yeah, nice little time waster. Go forward and enjoy.